Hello, hello. Welcome everybody. I'll just wait a second. I am so excited to start this today with you guys. Just a quick introduction as people are coming on and watching. For those of you who do not know, my name is Audrey and I am a wedding photographer here in Atlanta. And as I have been photographing weddings, I begun to see behind the scenes of what happens in a wedding and what goes on. And I just felt that I should start this series with you guys, all about behind the scenes wedding tips that you can use to make your wedding plans come together. So a little bit about this. Today we're going to be talking about a topic, and maybe you see it at the top of the video, all about what you do not need at your wedding. And so as I began to make a list of all the different topics that I could talk to you about and advice that I could give you, there was a common thread that I began to see with all the different things I wrote down. And I wrote down a really long list, and I was like, man, which one do I pick for the first video? And with all the different topics that I have, the common thread with them all goes together, and that's what we're going to talk today about. And if you see me look down, I'm just looking at my notes. I have a lot of notes because I have a lot of great information I'm going to share with you today. So if you are a bride or a groom, this is going to help you out. But also if you are a bridesmaid, or even mother of the bride, father of the bride, or if you're just going to be attending a wedding or have a friend that's getting married, this is going to really help them. And maybe you can share it with them and say, hey, I just saw this video about tips from a wedding photographer, stuff behind the scenes that she's seen. So I'm really excited to share with you all. So the main theme of today, and the number one thing that I see that people do not need at weddings, and now y'all are going to be surprised, and the topic, are y'all ready for it? So the main thing that you do not need at your wedding is stress. Stress. And it's as simple as that. I see more weddings where people are just stressed out, and we could get rid of that. Let's get rid of that, done with it. Stress has a way of sneaking into your wedding plans. Even from the first day you get engaged, it automatically starts to sneak its way in. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't like stress, and I don't like seeing other people stressed out. It starts to stress me out. So no. So I think the basics of these videos is going to be really focused on eliminating stress throughout your wedding planning. So here we go. Stress. Let's get rid of it. And I think when you get engaged, a lot of people start asking you questions, and there's a lot of pressure to put on a really amazing wedding, especially now with our generation. What the wedding industry has changed so much to the point where it's almost like a show. It's almost like a status quo of like, where did you have your wedding? What kind of dress did you have? It's almost like you're putting on a show for other people, when really we need to just be focusing on your marriage, and that is what is most important. And if you're anything like me, or if you're a girl, you've probably heard people say, oh, it'll all work out. Don't worry, it'll all work out. And I don't know about you guys, but that just really doesn't help. So if I were to leave you on, oh, it'll all work out, don't even worry about it, it'll come together. I don't know if y'all have ever planned a wedding, and if someone told you that, it's almost like telling someone like, oh, you'll get it all together because you're the one doing it and doesn't affect me. That's really frustrating. What you really probably more likely want to hear is, here's $1 million to plan your wedding, and then you can have someone else do it all for you. But in reality, that is probably not going to happen. So with wedding planning, make sure you don't tell someone that. That's really frustrating. So, of course, stress is the one thing that you don't want in your wedding, and it affects so many different things. It affects your health, it affects your metabolism, it affects how you behave, it affects how you perceive reality. So even on your wedding, things can be going perfectly normal, and if you're stressed out, you might think, oh my gosh, everything's falling apart, this is awful. And it's not. It's just because stress is, it's its way into your mind, and you think that everything's falling apart, and it's not. So stress, no more stress. So I would hate to leave you with, don't stress. Like, I would be telling you, just like I told you, how people say, oh, don't worry, it'll all work out. Now, I think that's the main point of these videos, is going to be to give you some practical tips that can really help eliminate stress. So with that, I'm going to give you 3 quick tips to help eliminate stress as you're planning your wedding, or maybe it's your daughter's wedding, or your cousin, or you're just attending a wedding, or your friend's wedding. Here's 3 tips that you could immediately start that will help get rid of stress. So first, tip number 1 is get a good night's sleep. So you can immediately implement that. And I know everyone has busy schedules, and there's not enough time in the day to get everything done, especially if you're working a full-time job and trying to plan a wedding. But I challenge you, even if you go to bed 1 hour earlier normal than you do, it will make you feel so much better. And there's a video going around on Facebook about the benefits of sleeping more, or I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's really crazy how the lack of sleep, how it affects your body and your decisions. I think the video was saying when you don't get enough sleep, that memory, like your short-term memory, starts to kind of like stop, so it's harder to make memories. That's awful, especially when you're planning such an important time of your life. You want to remember everything. So if you don't get enough sleep and you can't remember things, that's just not good. So the second tip I have for you guys that you can immediately start to implement, and I do this sometimes just to help me. Sometimes I'll do this in the morning and I'll write things down, but it's kind of called something crazy, a brain dump. I don't know if y'all have heard of that before. I think I first heard of it from Laura Casey. She is a writer. But a brain dump is essentially, you get a piece of paper, and you can do this in the morning. I really recommend doing this in the morning. Just write down everything that you're thinking of at the moment. So just write it down. It doesn't have to make sense. You don't even have to be able to read it. Just write it down. By doing this, you're taking things in your mind and just putting them on paper, and it's almost as if your brain thinks that you are working on it, and it gives you more peace about it because you feel like you've done something towards that project, when really you're just writing it down on a piece of paper. And you really could take that paper and just throw it away, or you could keep it and look at it, but you might not be able to read it. Y'all can even see mine right before I did this video. I wrote down a couple things, and it just looks like craziness, but it does help you with your day, especially if you have a lot of things going on that you're like, I have too much in my head, oh my goodness. Write it all down on a piece of paper and you'll immediately feel better, I promise. And so now the third tip, this is my favorite tip, and I think it's something that we overlook. So tip number 3 is to celebrate. Celebrate. So with weddings and planning, I just want to encourage you to celebrate, even if you're doing little things along the way to plan your wedding, or even after you're married. I just encourage you to celebrate each moment. So I think as Americans, we're so driven on what's next, what can I achieve next, once you accomplish something, you're on to the next thing. So I think if you celebrate each moment, you're going to feel a lot better about everything that you've done. So this could even be something as simple as once you book a wedding vendor, go celebrate. Maybe it's something small, like go treat yourself to a Starbucks, or maybe just play your favorite song and have a little dance party. But I think so much with weddings, you get so consumed with how much is on your list to do that I really want to encourage you guys to celebrate as you do make decisions and you do get things done on your list. Celebrate, especially with your fiance. Go out, have lunch together, celebrate. Hey, we figured out where we're gonna live, or we booked this vendor. Go celebrate. So that is my 3 tips for you guys. Number 1, get sleep. Get a good night's sleep. Number 2, brain dump. Write down everything on paper. Get it out of your head. That's it. Number 3, celebrate. So hopefully you guys can immediately start to implement these non-stress tips for your wedding. And I'm so excited to start this series. My goal with it is to do it every Monday at around lunchtime, just to give you tips that I've seen at weddings, behind the scenes, things that I'm like, y'all should really do these or not do these things. I think when I was planning my wedding, because I have attended so many weddings, I knew, oh, this is what I should do. This is what I shouldn't do. So it wasn't as stressful or overwhelming for me, but I see friends who are getting married, engaged, and they're like, oh, this is a lot. So I just want to help you guys and give you all the tips and advice that I have right now. So I'm really excited. I have a whole list of ideas and things, so stay tuned. And I'm also going to post later today a link that you can sign up to get updates about these videos with tips, so you can sign up to get some more information. But anyways, hope you'll have a wonderful day. I can't wait to see how these videos progress, and I have a lot of really fun ideas, and I can't tell you them all, but I really want to. But I hope you'll have a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye!